Welcome, everyone, to All Cards on Deck. My name is Ola, and for those who don't know me, I'm the host of this series where I sit down with different guests who have absolutely different backgrounds. They also live all over the world. I right now counted from 22 episodes that I already had. There are people from 15 different countries. How awesome is that? Making it international. So, no matter the differences of all those guests that come to All Cards on Deck, they do have something in common. They all live their lives purposefully, filled with purpose. And I created All Cards on Deck, especially for you guys who are right now in a place of being lost, not knowing who you are, what to do next, what is your purpose, asking all of these questions in your head and constantly ruminating. I really want you to get inspired by the stories of real people, their ups, their downs, their challenges, the fun stuff, and to start finally taking action, to experiment with ideas that you already have. And All Cards on Deck also has a little twist at the end. We're actually playing cards. They're called We Are Not Really Strangers. And these cards, they have random questions on them. This is how we're bringing a bit of fun into this conversation and also getting to know our guests from a different angle beyond what they do, beyond purpose. And today's guest is Faz Zavahir. He actually started in sales over 25 years ago. And at some point, he realized that uh, closing deals is no longer as interesting as before. And instead, he became more interested in understanding why some sales teams are outperforming consistently the others. And right now, he's a senior B2B sales and GTM operator. He's helping founder led B2B companies build predictable revenue and fix their sales systems. Welcome, Faz. Super excited for this conversation.
Thank you, Ola. Thank you for having me. And yeah, 25 years seems like 5 years ago.
How awesome is that? Time flies when you're doing something you like, huh?
Indeed, indeed, yes.
You're enjoying it. Beautiful. So let's dive into it. So the first question is, who are you?
Who am I? If I would say from a professional perspective, the kind of person that I am is, I joined sales almost by accident. I never set out thinking I was going to build a career in sales. It was simply an opportunity for me. What kept me there wasn't just the selling, it was the curiosity. And every company I joined, people were working hard, consistent, and I became more fascinated about the why. Over the years, I realized that I wasn't just only enjoying closing deals anymore, as you mentioned, and you observed very carefully. I enjoyed understanding the systems behind it, the ICP, the messaging, the commercial decisions, the handovers, the whole works. And today I still work, while I say I work in sales stills, but I'm more into as a commercial operator. I go into businesses finding out what's slowing growth, what's leaking revenue, what's stalling revenue, and things like these.
Uh-huh.
Outside work, I'm actually quite a simple person, believe it or not. I train in the gym 5 times a week. People don't believe it.
Wow.
People find that quite hard to believe. I haven't stopped in almost 4 years, so not miss a
Incredible.
single day. I'm a natural curious person, and I probably spend more time reading and learning than I should. And I like understanding how things work. I guess it's something that was built in me in my DNA, whether that's a business or whether it's making new technology or whether it's about just general things about even architecture of buildings. Like, why was it built this way?
Mm,
And I very easily switch off after work every single day just by leaving work at work and being myself at the end.
mhm. This is amazing. So many beautiful points you've already mentioned by replying to just the first question. First of all, I want to dive deeper into curiosity because I feel like not only in sales, not only in what we do in general, curiosity in life is so important. So I'm wondering, how is it helping and was it helping you to find your purpose and to do something that you love?
Well, if you'd asked me 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, I'd probably struggle to answer that.
Mhm.
But looking back over my 25 years, it's actually 26, just don't tell anyone.
We'll keep it a secret.
Keep it a secret. I actually enjoy solving problems than other people who actually look and don't see or don't even step back, and analyze. I like walking into the business where everyone has a different opinion about what's wrong, what's stripping away, what's the noise, what's helping them focus, or what's genuinely moving the business forward or stalling it. The purpose there for me is seeing a company become more commercially stronger because of the work that I have done, and probably the most is one of the most rewarding thing that I come back take out of with.
Mhm. Have you ever had these situations where you see the problem, you know how to fix it, and you want to fix it, but the other person is just not seeing it?
Yeah.
How are you navigating these situations? Because I also know a lot of people who are having these desire to help others. Sometimes they can over give, over, I don't
Yeah.
know, pursue the other person when they're not ready. So I'm wondering, yeah, how you're navigating these situations.
These situations I face on a regular basis. People have opinions. People, they have their pride, their ego, and I threw my pride and ego out the window many years ago. And I always come with a very data-driven approach. It will happen at any single time in any business or even in any environment where people's opinions, judgments, clouds of judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you need to strategically, whether you're as a commercial operator or in any other line of work, you need to figure out a way how your voice is going to be heard. And for me, what's worked repeatedly over the years is by not saying, no, I am right because I'm experienced or because you've hired me for this job. That will never work in any industry or in any sector. For me, it's like, okay, I have listened to what you have said. I have brought 2, 3 slides backed up by data. Now, if we follow your route, it will direct us this way. If we follow my route, it will direct in your vision. And here's the data. Let's have a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't make it as a conflict. I make it as more for them to realize, okay, maybe there is some truth in what Faz is saying. And that way, I tend to get better results or better outcomes very fast.
Mm-hmm. I've been also a salesperson on the field, on the ground, myself for many, many years. And I remember when we had consultants coming in, the sales team always looked at them with no curiosity. It was more like, something's gonna change right now.
What are you
Who
doing
is
here?
this person? What are you doing here? We have systems already set and we're closing. What is it? And there was also sometimes fear, like, oh my God, maybe there's going to be a restructuring. Maybe like some people will be fired.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering also how you're navigating your conversations, not only with the management, but also people who are on the ground.
Those are day-to-day challenges. I mean, the one thing that I would indirectly establish, first of all, is that I'm not here to take their jobs. I'm here to fix a solution or fix a commercial leak or wherever the CEO or whoever has hired me to come in. I come in, I'm like a plumber, but in sales. I come in, I fix the leaks, and I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm asked to stay, I stay. Right. That's my job. I'm not there to take the head of sales or the VP of sales or any other job roles. I'm literally there to provide my experience. You take it, move on. I try to establish that in many different ways at an SDR level, at a VP level. And to be honest, Ola, that actually gains a lot of respect. And I don't go looking for it, but it actually is a side effect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people tend to see. And I still get emails or even phone calls from people that I have worked in the past saying, hey, Faz, I'm joining this role. I need a bit of your guidance. I'm like, happy to help. Let's have a quick call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. You have the data for the management, you have the communication and clarity of your agenda and why you're here for people, all the people,
Yeah.
the heads and the people who are on the ground also. And that creates the safety for everyone.
Indeed, indeed. End of the day, we have one vision. They have a goal that they want to achieve, but you've got these roadblocks. And those roadblocks could be the VP of the sales or VP of marketing, or could be anyone. And it's how you pass each roadblocks without
Mm-hmm.
causing conflicts or arguments or tension. That's, I would say, is the biggest driving gear.
Mm-hmm. You've also mentioned that you are leaving work at work and you know how to separate work and life. I also remember myself, I used to have nightmares about the sales dashboard. I definitely didn't leave work at work. I was constantly thinking about it. My best friend was actually a colleague from work. So after work, we would hang out and talk about, guess what? Work.
Work. Yeah.
So it was such a mix of, not a mix, it was just work. Yeah, all my life was work. So I'm wondering, what's your secret?
It's actually not a big secret. People like to complicate things quite a lot, not trying to cause any stir or any argument. It's very simple. Once I finish my work, and since I work US hours quite a lot, let's say around 9, 10, I take a 30-minute walk. Either I listen to something or I just observe the people on the streets or whatever it is. And I just blank out my mind, stop thinking of work. And I just think about anything that comes into my mind apart from work. If work pops in, I just said, I've pressed the off button, bugger off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Move on. So, and then I wind down slowly before I head off to bed. And even when I go to sleep, I make sure that I don't think about work.
Mm-hmm.
Sales pipeline don't come into my mind. ICPs don't come into my mind. Outbounds don't come into my mind. Nothing. I go to bed just thinking about what I watched on TV, or right now the World Cup. Can England come back with the trophy, or will they come back empty again? Stuff like those.
Uh-huh. I like the strategy actually to have that 30 minutes, completely different activity, walking, nature, people watching is actually a good reset. And it could also be a great advice for any salespeople or any people who are working to be
Exactly.
able to doing and to clear your mind. So thank you for sharing that. This is really good. So if you were to express what is your purpose in one sentence, how would it sound?
My purpose in one sentence. I would say seeing a company becoming more commercially stronger because of what I have done or implemented or changed. I would say that would be my biggest purpose at the moment.
And what was your journey to purpose? What I understood, you started in sales, but how did you even get there? Because it was not, it happened by accident. Like, how did that accident happen?
How did it happen? I think the curiosity part actually helped a lot. Me being curious about why does this happen? Why does revenue leak? Why we built everything and it looks absolutely perfect in theory or in frameworks or in principles. But I just got into that more curiosity mindset where there must be another reason. And that's where I actually look into it. And that's what actually got me over the years after practicing many times and understanding it. That's where it becoming a problem solver.
And what about your first sales job? Like, how did you get there?
It was actually in investment banking, selling to actually the most difficult clients of ultra high net individuals. And I got there just soon after university, where one of my mentors recommended me to join and in my career. And it was tough, but I like to be thrown, as I call it in my analogy, in the deep end of a swimming pool
Mm.
and make sure that I don't drown, that I swim to shore.
Mm-hmm. What was tough about it? The people or the product or something else?
It's the people, and the product is everyone knew about the product, but it's more or less speaking to ultra high net worth individuals. You have to have a different tone mentality and as well as an approach.
Mm-hmm.
With them, trust building comes first. Whereas with most other, let's say, companies, trust building will come during the process. Whereas here, you don't sell, you do not pitch. You have to go by evidence back, and you have to show your personality because that's how they do business.
Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering, how was it for you just straight out of uni to talk to those people? What were your first experiences? And were there any I don't know, funny stories that you can remember now as funny, but probably back then they weren't as.
Yes, in fact, I actually met my best friend through one of these funny stories.
Okay.
Since he was also an ultra high net worth individual, and I was on the call with him, he found me quite interesting in the questions that I was asking him. And this was like, I think, 20 years ago. And we're still friends.
Mhm.
And it slowly became, we never closed any deals or anything, but we built a solid friendship over the years. And I think that's something that it's not really a funny story, but it's a very interesting story where I would say where it turned out from a business to having a very good, strong friendship.
This is very, very nice. Yeah, connection, work can definitely connect people. Just as we spoke, LinkedIn connects people in such a
Yeah,
beautiful way, same as work. You never know where your next beautiful opportunity, where it comes from.
indeed.
Yeah. I'm wondering back then, how were you sourcing your leads? How was the sales process back then in comparison to what we have right now? The evolution of the sales processes from your 26 years of experience.
I always joke with saying I came from the phone book era, the yellow pages.
Wow. So you were just randomly not randomly, I mean, you had to know that these peoples are.
We kind of like had manual. We also had the basic of Excel back then, or even what we used to call big spreadsheets. So I started off there, and we had a data entry person, which jobs don't kind of like exist. They enter the data from the phone book into a sheet for us, and with a pen, we just go cross out, cross out, cross out, cross out, or like this lead is good, circle it.
No computers, no
It was
CRM.
basic. It was basic. No CRMs, no tools, no automation, no Claude, nothing.
Yeah, it is very different. I remember when I started sales, there was already more things, computers and Excel sheets and all of that, but I still was doing cold calling like over the phone. This
Yeah.
was my first two jobs were on the phone, and it was also very, very stressful. I was also straight out of uni and getting so much rejection in 1 month was harsh. Was
1 month
harsh.
or in one morning.
In one morning, yeah, in one day, yeah. Like I feel like I've never gotten rejected so many times as I did in my
I
first
think for
days and
all
months.
all cold callers, whoever handles cold calling especially in a very tough environment, my best advice to you is rejections. Don't take it personally. Find it humorous and just click next, which is the next call, and move on. Be polite when they insult you. I always do that. And said, I'm going to find you and I'm going to come to your home. Like, please, would you like a cup of tea? Let me arrange it for you.
Sweet.
They suddenly get shocked.
Pattern
And
interrupt in the
I
face.
interrupt the pattern a little bit. Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
When are you
that's
coming?
sweet. Uh-huh.
Things like that. And just, yeah, move on.
I know that people are still using cold calling as their sales tool and technique in
Yeah.
their systems. I'm wondering, what do you think about this in this day and age? Like, is it still relevant? Sometimes I'm wondering why people are still doing it.
It is relevant, but not on all industries. You literally have to look at the ICP whom you're calling. I'll give you an example. I'm working for a cybersecurity company now on a consultancy basis, and I'm implementing their commercial outbound engine. They actually brought me in the beginning for cold calling. And
Mm,
when I looked at their products and services and everything that they offer, I said there probably might be 10% cold calling. I said, what you need is email and LinkedIn. Why? Because a lot of salespeople, what they don't look at is the buyer persona or the buyer behavior,
mhm,
because there are some behaviors where they actually have absolutely no time to pick up the phone. They either check their LinkedIn once a day or on every Friday or on the weekends, and they may have a quick glance at the emails. If yours stand out, you may get a reply. So I would say it doesn't apply for every single industry or every single buyer persona, but it does
mhm.
apply. And I would say
Mm-hmm.
it is very effective. But nowadays, since there are like 100 people calling a day the same person, you before cold calling had a higher acceptance rate. Now I think it's somewhere around 10%.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very low.
Yeah. But also, if you look at LinkedIn, even when we're using messages, the acceptance rate, as within accepting a request to connect, is quite high, but then the reply rate is very, very low.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like in general, also, I would love to know your opinion on it. I feel like right now there's just so much on the market and so much noise and advertising that people are they just want to close their eyes, close their ears and shut down.
True. The unfortunate thing is that a lot of people they do heavy pitching.
Hmm.
I mean, I get about 20 pitches a day, even offering sales for my own self. People don't even read. What has proven successful for me is the first two pitches or messages, let's call it. I actually talk about them. For example, I'll say, Ola, I actually found your post quite interesting, or your work growth from company A to company B. And I thought we'd
Hmm.
connect.
Hmm.
I tend to get quite a high response rates on those.
Hmm.
And then I get in my second message, I tell them very honestly, I tell them, just by the way, I'm working for company ABC. It is in the industry here. Quick question. You're also in a similar industry. And then I punch in a pain point
Hmm.
and I then dialogue a conversation because
Hmm.
people are after booking meetings, booking meetings, booking meetings. Whereas I'm after building a small relationship, qualifying the contact, and then book the meetings.
Hmm. So for the pain point, you're asking a question. Hey, do you have a similar pain point? Or do you have this XYZ pain point?
Or I would actually present them because I already know what their pain points are.
So straight away it would be, oh, I noticed you have this XYZ pain point. How
Yeah,
are you
for
dealing with
example,
it?
yeah. Or I would
Mm.
ask, what's your opinion about pain points ABC?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that does make sense. And there is a lot of pitch slapping right now on
It's a
LinkedIn.
lot.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, when I started, I did it myself. I was pitch slapping everyone left and right, but I did not know any better. So
We all have
right
to, yeah.
now, yes, we live, we learn. Right now, there's definitely a different strategy that I use to be able to connect with people more. And it's more about having the conversation, as you said, about them. My problem after I was pitch slapping, I was getting to know people, asking questions. My problem was I was becoming too friendly and kind of like friend zoned. And what would you recommend for those people who can spark a conversation, get that connection, but then how to shift that conversation into business?
Be yourself would be I would never try to change someone's personality. I would actually say keep your personality because that's who you are and it's also portrayed on your LinkedIn. Just be mindful what your goal is. And if your goal is to make a friend, fine. If your goal is to book a meeting or sell a product or a service, then try to integrate that in. Like I'm very
Mm-hmm.
funny, I'm very jovial, I'm very juvenile, agile, and sometimes I like to add humor.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I keep it business serious. Sometimes I keep it a little bit more to the point of specific question. It all depends on the person that I am also talking to on
Mm-hmm.
messaging or whether it's on email, whichever it is.
Mm-hmm. So the transition from a conversation, let's say about them, towards business asking, let's have a call, is usually something that you do in a natural, smooth way, adding,
Blend it in naturally. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Can you give an example? How would it sound?
An example of how that would sound would be I'll give you a scenario here. One particular lead that I am pursuing, first one, I actually complimented him on his new job change, and it was actually a difficult role to jump into. And he accepted back, and he actually took the time to write a one liner thanking me for it. And the next line was more about, I asked him what his role entails. So I kind of like made him to get the question to make him reply. And
Mm-hmm.
once he replied that, I said, well, to be very honest, I'm actually working for a client that is in this industry. Would it be
Mm-hmm.
worthwhile your time to have a 20-minute conversation with my colleague where, no pressure at all?
Mm-hmm.
In the end, if nothing works out, you've met someone in the same industry. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that actually turned out to be seven-figure closing in the end.
Bravo.
So, and also since it built a little bit of a reputation and trust in starting from the LinkedIn, now, he just brings all the business back to us again.
Mm, yeah, referrals, the
Yeah.
word of mouth is
Like, speak to
very
that
good.
guy Faz, he'll stalk you on LinkedIn. Don't worry.
The LinkedIn stalker who closes 7
Yeah.
million. Boom. Nice. Wondering when you were transitioning from being employed, right? Because that's security, that is the known, into having your own business, into being a consultant, being, your own boss. How was that transition for you? When did you decide that, yes, I'm ready? Did you prepare yourself for it? What was your strategy there?
I've been planning it for the past 5 years, but I've been pushing it. A few factors that made me want to make sure that I didn't end up like some of my older colleagues or older friends, people who are in their, let's say, mid 50s, who actually, I know three people who got redundant last year and this year. They've
Mm-hmm.
worked for the same company for 30 years, and because of their age, they were just made redundant, and they were finding it difficult to, let's say, get into consultancy or finding another job. People always say, oh, you're way too experienced, things like that. And I said to myself, I don't want to end up in that position as I get older, as I get younger, I mean. So, and I started planning it out by where is my best skills used. So, you could start, I could say, I could even design a great system for everyone. Fantastic. But then I decided that I found out that what I do on a day-to-day basis is my product, which is identifying revenue leakages, identifying where revenue can be or is hidden, identifying new channels, identifying methods, things like these. So that's where I started off. And I believe in the beginning, my mindset was like, okay, let me try and see to get a few clients. Now I'm actually planning an 18-month plan where I'm actually growing myself, but everyone's gonna follow my principles of how I have embedded, because my clients absolutely love the principles that I have used.
Mm-hmm. And these principles are specifically in regards to sales, right? The sales principles.
It is specifically related to sales. It is specifically related to revenue growth. It's something in between a chief commercial officer and RevOps, but mixed in between with sales and GTM.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you're basically going to apply what you're giving to your clients, you're going to apply into your own business.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, perfect. Walking your talk.
Indeed.
Yeah. So in regards to the challenges that you faced along the way towards your purpose, towards your journey to purpose, what were the biggest challenges?
I think every day it had a different challenge.
Mm-hmm.
What has been my biggest challenges is identifying about who am I and what am I, and how actually I could turn that into, let's say, something positive. Because a lot of people get stuck and just leave it there or bury it underneath the carpet, I call it. For me, it did take a while, but as a person who's curious, I didn't leave it underneath the carpet. I brought it out every single day, had a conversation with it in my mind or with some of my colleagues or my friends, and I put it into perspective and made it clearer day by.
Mm-hmm. So apart from these conversations in your head and your friends, what else helped you to understand who you are? And how also these conversations helped you? Like, were you asking them questions? Were there specific
Yeah.
questions?
There
Mm-hmm.
are two of my very trusted friends. I can tell them anything and they'll just tell me anything to my face, whether it's completely rubbish or actually I'm thinking in the right direction. So I always
Mhm.
go to them for validation or stir up a debate with them.
Mhm.
Then people in my industry, I kind of like get the validation of what they think. You tend to get mixed signals on those, but overall, it kind of like gives you a picture and a starting point.
Mhm. Any other challenges that you faced?
Identifying yourself. It was a question that somebody asked me. Have you always been a commercial operator all your life? The answer is no. I never knew that I would. If you asked me 25 years ago, I'd probably go, what is a commercial operator? It's something that gradually that grew into me during my sales career.
Mhm.
Another challenge which I naturally did over the past 25 years is, and you've probably observed this as well, Ola, many salespeople only explicitly choose one industry. Let's call it cybersecurity or SaaS or whichever it is. And they stick to that for the rest of their lives. Someone many years ago said to me, Faz, master many industries.
Mhm.
I was shocked. He said, if you want to be a good salesperson in 20 years' time, you need to remove the element of the product and you need to focus on the sales part. It took me years to understand what that meant. But
Mm.
once I understood and I started implementing it, I was able to shift into various different industries. That's
Yeah.
also a challenge I think every salesperson I think should adopt as well.
Mhm. Actually, I love this thought. I never pondered on it, but it's good you mentioned because also in my career, I've changed all the different companies that I worked for. All of them were from different industries, all of them, starting like real estate, IT, events, company setup. And in my head, naturally, I always thought that it's selling. Like, I can learn a
Mm,
product, but the skill of selling is there. So
sure.
when I'm moving from one company to another, from one product to the other, the only thing that I need to learn is the product.
You do, but one advice, don't memorize the product and don't be a master of the product. Be a
Mm.
master of the selling engine.
What do you mean by that? Selling
So,
engine?
for example, whatever the outbound systems that you've been brought into or you're providing, that could be cold calling, email, LinkedIn, SMS, whichever it is, right? There are many. You be the master of that because that's your expertise. The
Hmm.
product, you need to know the basics, what it does, what does it serve, and what does it do. I'll give you an example. I started a month and a half, about 6 weeks ago with a very well-known lighting in industrial lighting company in the US. And now I know the basics of lighting, what it does, and it switches on my light and switches off. But the technical
The
side of it,
basics.
basic. And I actually just sat for 1 hour with the product manager and I just got the 5 products and areas where they mainly produce all the lighting systems. Now, I didn't go and memorize the entire system or the products. I actually learned the basics of what it does so that when I'm communicating on my outreach, they know that I know the basics. And if I need additional information, I direct them either to the website or I have resources internally to ask. I didn't become a master of the product. I became master of the solution, which their
Hmm.
solution was to sell in bulk their lighting systems.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that also makes sense. At the same time, as you said, you still need to understand the product at some
To some degree, but yeah,
to
you
some
don't need
degree.
to memorize it. You don't need to know the engineering side of it, the
Yeah.
complex side of it, which people tend to mistake by I need to know everything about what it does.
Hmm. Makes sense. And when you are in a company, and as per my understanding, you've worked with a lot of companies and fixed their leaks. Do you find that there is similarities in their problems, that there are like a common, let's say one leak, one problem that almost all of your clients have had?
Yeah, and I'm gonna make this the British analogy system. I have called the banana analogy and the chef chicken soup analogy.
Okay.
The banana allergy is more focused on, so, people always ask me, and what I see very often is SDRs, they, with ICP related, they always ask me, when do you stop, let's say, filtering the ICP until it's, perfect? I said, no,
Mm-hmm.
you don't, there's nothing called, filtering it in that way. So they said, when do you know when to stop or gathered enough information that that's a good ICP? Tell them, I compare it to peeling like a banana, right? At first, when you see the banana, you see the skin, right? And as you slowly peel it back, and what's inside is your answer, because you keep peeling it, there's nothing left.
Yeah, no more banana.
Right. And in commercial diagnosis, works the same way. You investigate until the evidence is clear and then you act.
Mm-hmm.
The three chefs in the chicken soup, it's another analogy. It's actually more on the marketing positioning side of a brand. Imagine giving three chefs the exact same ingredients and making the same chicken soup. They all start with the same recipe, yet each soup tastes different.
Mm-hmm.
Businesses are not as different either. Two companies can sell the most identical product, yet, one consistently outperform than the other. Could be positioning, could be trust, should be customer experience. So the
Mm-hmm.
product matters. My question today is like, how do you take that market as much? So the chicken soup side is that the summarized analogy is that, there's always one soup that tastes better. And how do you become that?
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely a secret sauce or a secret ingredient that is there in that soup that the chef uses. Yeah, I love the analogies that they make it much more visual and easier to
It
understand.
is easy to, especially when you're training SDRs. I always give them, oh, I've got many, many. I've just given you two examples.
Wow, I love them. Okay, what are the tips that you can give to those people who are in search of their own purpose?
I would say be passionate, be motivated, be curious, and don't be impatient.
Mm-hmm.
Today, you are who you are today. In a year or in 2 years, it will be completely different. Find your direction, find your way. Sometimes takes time. Speak to peers, speak to colleagues, and eventually you'll find your positioning.
Mm-hmm. And what about those people who are starting their sales career as a person who's been in the field for a long time? What would your tips be for these people
Get
who are
out of
salesmen?
sales. You'll need a
Ah,
therapist.
no! Run
Run.
before it's too late.
It's too late. I would say there are two areas for every salesperson to master. One is the ICP and one is the messaging.
Hmm.
And if you master these two, you're solving already 60 to 70% of the biggest problems within the company.
Hmm.
A lot of people just use just Claude or any AI output messaging, hoping it works because they think that Claude is right or ChatGPT is right. No, add the human element to it as well. Use your mind, whether it's 1 year's experience or 25 years experience, whatever it is, use that judgment as well.
Hmm.
And with the ICP, just like the banana, don't peel it too much. If not, you're left with
Yeah.
nothing.
Mm. But at the same time, also peel it. Don't leave it in your skin and eat it.
Exactly. I don't think that, okay, I've got 60,000 bananas with the skin and I'm just going to contact also 60,000. No.
Hmm. And I also had a question for salespeople in my head, and I think it slipped while we were talking about bananas.
Too many bananas and chicken soups?
Banana slipping on the banana, banana peel. Okay, let's then move into the part with questions from the deck.
Ha.
So there are three levels. We'll start with level one as usual and see where it leads us. Are you usually early, on time, or late to events? Explain.
German style. I think somewhere in my ancestry, I've had German blood. I'm literally 1 minute before the clock. I'm there.
Perfect. This is a good habit to have. I'm usually 10 minutes earlier. I went even further.
Even further,
What
yeah.
about what about events in general, by the way, as the question is about
Events.
events. What do you think about selling at the events and networking?
I think it's more of a budget and exposure, depending on the type of events. I
Mm,
think some people spend way too much on events with zero results. And in events, please don't put marketing people on the stand. Put salespeople to generate a pipeline, to gather business cards, and don't put technical or product people also on the stand.
mm-hmm.
That's my advice, especially at events.
So interesting because I also hear a lot from salespeople and in general from people that right now with over messaging, over emailing, over advertising, over AI,
Hmm.
people really want that connection. And what I
Yeah.
hear again from my circle is that the events are actually the go-to places to find connection leads because people, it seems like they're craving that one-on-one personal connection more than ever.
Yeah, I agree. And by going to events, you can actually solidify a relationship within 2 minutes, much faster than sending five LinkedIn messages.
Mm-hmm.
Go to events, go to meetups, go to all the big events and the small events as much as you can, even with as an attendee, or
Yeah.
if you decide to have one booth per year, fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any strategy on how to get leads during the events? Again, not to pitch slap people like, hey, here's my business card, and then this
Never
business
pitch
card
at
never
events.
gets.
Never pitch at events. I mean, I never pitch at events. Whenever I go, I never stand at the stand. I actually go around. I
Mm-hmm.
do my rounds, get my steps in, let's call it.
Mm-hmm.
I go
10,000
visit.
steps in.
Yeah, I go probably more. I actually interact with them and I let them talk about their business a lot more. And while they're talking, since I know the type of event, I've already got one or two questions prepared in my mind. Like, you know what? I think we could be a great fit because, and I throw in a pain point, and that engages curiosity. And I said, look, it's very busy today. There are many people here. Scan my card and let's arrange a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, it's done in 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, a converse similar tactic as LinkedIn, but just oh
Similar, but more in person.
yeah,
And yeah, it's
yeah.
fast.
Mm. So first talking about them, asking about their business, and then again, always dropping a pain point into the
Replying
conversation.
with a pain point saying,
Yeah.
I think we could be a great fit. I'm not sure yet. And then throw in the pain point and let them think for 30, like 2 seconds and wait for the reply and go, yeah, I think that could be, there could be a synergy. You never know. And they'll actually remember you
Hmm. Yeah.
from meeting, let's say, thousands of other people that day.
Just got the card, that's it. This is what I also noticed from people. It's like, oh, let's exchange cards. And then what? I don't know you, you don't know me. This card
Yeah.
is just laying there and yeah, there's no use. Okay, moving to level number two. How would you describe the feeling of being in love in one word?
Being in love in one word.
Hmm.
It's, oh, I can't do it in one word. I'm trying to figure out one word for it.
Love,
One
that's
word.
it.
I think I need to go back in school and learn my English. It's
Mm.
important. Can I use the word it's important? Can I word add that? Important.
Important. Important.
For
Mm-hmm. Now I'm curious, what do you mean by that? What does this importance in love mean to you?
humans are designed to be loved and to give love.
Mm.
And it's important to have that in your personal life as well.
Mhm.
And not just only professionally. Personally, it's also important. And I wouldn't mind sharing with the audience while I was in my career and running 350 startups and helping them. I asked a very good friend of mine who coaches CEOs, and I asked her, what's my problem in my scaling to my growth? And she said to me, after analyzing and asking a lot of questions, she said to me, Faz, the answer is very simple. You need to find love again.
Mhm.
And she said she answered it because I have everything in my professional life already arranged, organized. It's all set. But my personal life, it's kind of like myself and the gym, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and my friends. So they said, well, that's good. You have, but you need that's one person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it took me a while, about 2 weeks, to kind of like really understand it. But then I agreed with her.
Mm-hmm.
I called her back and I said, "You're absolutely right. Do you know anyone? You know?" Again, my British joke, and
That's how you do it. This is where your sales skills are also needed in the
it is,
dating
yeah.
scene.
I was filtering ICPs from her actually.
Now I'm feeling the banana for the ICPs for my
I have
partner.
I've got a different computer for that, yeah. But
But
I would
that's
say
also
it's important.
interesting. That's also interesting. Thank you, first of all, for sharing. And I also see a lot of people who love their business, love what they do so much. They just get lost in their job, in their purpose, completely neglecting
Yep.
other parts of their lives. So I'm wondering also, could you give any tips for those people not to get into that state, to find harmony between all the areas of life, not to get
Yes.
dragged into work, 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 even if it's firing you up?
While, you have the passion from the work and you're giving it 10, 12, 14 hours a day, whatever it is you're giving, it's good, but don't forget your personal life, your mindset, and as well as, ensuring that you have that someone in your life. End of the day, you need to be yourself as well, outside your work environment, outside your friends. And if you find that one person who you can be yourself, I think that's important, because that's where I think you re-energize. It's one of your re-energizing points.
Hmm. Exactly. You can be at work, then come back and get energized, go back to work even more energized than you were before,
Indeed.
and be even more productive when your partner is so supportive and loving and
Absolutely.
they're beautiful. I love it. Okay, level three, our last question. What about you is the hardest for people to understand?
What about me is the hardest to understand? Everyone thinks I'm all surrounded by sales and work, but in fact, it's only when they get to know me that they realize I've got my dry British humor, or my British humor. And actually, I'm a fun person to be around with, because probably I come out as quite a lot as tough character, very focused, and they see those initially. But to be honest, I'm just like anyone else. I'm just another man who's just, I've also got my sense of humor. I've also got, my flaws, everything. So it's just that my determine. What people get assume is that I'm always a salesperson, when in reality, actually, I am who I am.
Mm-hmm. And we are so much more than our jobs.
Indeed. Absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll be wrapping up for today. What is the best way for people to get in touch with you? I guess LinkedIn DMs. Are there any other place?
I think LinkedIn DMs would be the fastest. I tend to reply to everyone, even if they're selling something to me. I take the time even saying thank you, but I'm not interested.
Yes,
So don't pitch in me when you're sending me DMs, but send me a message. If you need advice, I'll be glad to provide any advice. If you need some directions, I'll be there too. If you need me as well, I'm there as well.
beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Faz, for this beautiful conversation, for so many insights. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people who are in sales and who are watching this and or will be watching this afterwards, they will get inspired and they will have a better direction and more clarity on what to do and how to do it also.
Let's aim
So
to
thank you
try to
so
help
much.
1%.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for joining, and I will see you in the next one.
Have a great day, Ola. Bye.
Cheers.